Love the music. Love the music. Hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley and some wonderful, amazing experts and guests that I'm going to have. I always get excited because I always love bringing on powerhouses. I always love bringing on people that are a lighthouse to the world. And I say that a lot because when somebody is not just doing what they do in their expertise, in their lane, but they want to help others or they want to move others in their level to another level in their own lives or get to their objectives in their lives or their goals. And that's somebody helping. I always say, you know what, really cheer them on because those are people that are really holding, that's with you, steadfast with you all the way from beginning to end. And I told myself, I want to make sure that, I show the love. We need to show that love to people that are really working in your own life. If they're a coach, if they're an author, if they're a speaker, whatever they are. And I want to make sure that they get the visibility so people know who they are and say, you know what, I want to reach out to that person. Or I didn't know that they were doing that. Or I didn't even know that there was anything out there like that. So visibility is the key. And I said that this particular platform, I want to make sure that you understand, not only meet certain experts and people that are impacting the world, but also just get just a little bit like snippets or tips or the golden nuggets, as I call them, of what they do to make themselves visible. And then you never know, you can use that same aspect so you can be visible as well. Because you have a hidden treasure or gift in you, I tell people. Why are you hiding it? Should be hidden, should be out there for everybody so they know who you are. So with that said, we have a wonderful, amazing guest. And every time I have ladies on, I call them queens because I look at ladies as royalty. They do so much in the world. And when you think about it, is a motherly aspect of it for women. We all have it, either if we have our own children or we helping other children grow or whatever. That's one aspect that a lot of other people in the world cannot do. So I always say that with women, we have all these hats on all the time. And I want them to always know from me to them that they're royalty. So this particular lady, this is my second time interviewing her. And when she reached out to me, I was so excited because I said, oh, first of all, I said, oh, she remembered me through everything she does. She remembered to reach out to me and to come back on the platform because I told her this is home, that I'm family. I already put that. I said, even if she doesn't want me as family, I consider her as family. Her name is Karen Rudolf, and I'm telling you, this lady, she is a catalyst for positive change. And already she's pulling my heartstrings. As a life strategist, a two-time international best collaborative selling author, with the next due out in June. So it's coming in June, okay? And she's a presenter, she's a facilitator, she teaches, she supports a success women's leaders on the path to spiritual awakening and self-discovery through communication with self and teams, the art of self-healing from the inside out. Love it, love it. She's a spiritual life strategy. She's amazing. She has been in this thing for a long time, wonderful credibility, and just an awesome person in the heart. But before we get to the queen, we have to make sure we go to our sponsor. And once after we do our sponsor, we will be communicating and having a conversation with this wonderful queen, Karen. We will be right back. Yes, yes, I have the queen. I have the queen. Got that, okay. There we go. She knows. Straighten that crown. Oh, you look so beautiful. Thank you again. Before we even start, I always want to say, because this to me, this is like, okay, I'm being a little selfish here. I just love bringing on the queens that are just so positive and just, helping people in the world, just a global changer. And you are, ladies. So thank you, Karen, for coming back on this show, the Visibility Corner.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you.
That's
So people need, okay, now that I know that you're amazing and incredible and all that good stuff and awesome.
thank you.
Now we got to make sure that you tell the people, yes, I'm here. So I always like to start off with, I like the backstories. I like to find out how you got to this point of being this wonderful spiritual, this guidance for people and just, being this coach and just speaking and facilitate and helping women in that area.
Yeah. And actually, men show up all the time. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
shifting it also to conscious leaders because I just love working with people who are awakening to life, to themselves, to live that full life that sometimes we forget. Going back, my story goes way back, probably around 20 years. Coming out of a divorce, I was the wallflower, pitying myself all the time, and I was just like I had no life. I used to literally walk like 10 feet behind my former husband. Um, I wouldn't look anybody in the eye. I had no self esteem, no self worth, no self confidence. And when it came to divorce, my former took me to court because he wouldn't have a conversation. So he took me to court and wanted to take the children away. And I went all of a sudden over my dead body. The queen came out, the queen bee came out, and I was like, there's no flipping way. So, but then, for somebody who had no self worth, self esteem, it was like, how am I, what's the end result? And how am I going to get to that? And how am I going to get myself out of the way in order to get to that? And I ended up delving into all sorts of communication courses. And I promised myself in that moment, I'm getting a chill, whew, God bumps, that I would never, ever, ever be out of communication again.
Mhm.
So it has supported me in everything I've done, and really more so getting not just myself out of the way, but seeing what's possible and feasible for others in that space. Because when you're true to yourself and you're honest with yourself, and sometimes honesty can be an ouch, but when
Right.
you're true to yourself and get yourself out of your own way, then uh, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything's possible. So
Well, I love how, I always notice this, Queen, that when certain situations come our way, we think that we don't have it, like you said, that confidence, like you said, because I was in that same boat with you. So
mhm,
that's why I love what you do, because there's so many others that need you to be that leader example. But when you find yourself in a situation, but then when something happens where it turns that corner for you, and like you
exactly.
said, with your going through that divorce, and then your husband saying, well, that husband at the time, like you said, was saying, no, I want to do this. You're like, no, I'm going to find every power in myself to just, every
Exactly.
strength that I
Ex-
have. Yes.
Exactly.
And then after that, it couldn't stop you.
There was no stopping me because, honest to goodness, it was like as soon as I stepped into communication, then I think it was my former sister-in-law said, "Wow, you make a great life coach." I'm like, "What's that?" Okay, let me check it. Let's try it on. And I was like, "Okay," and like, "What's next?" And then all of a sudden, the world of possibility opened up for me, and Google became my best friend. It was quantum physics, neuroscience. I just kept going down the list, going, "Oh, the world is my oyster. What the hell? Oh, what else is possible?" And it really supported me because I think I shared with you. Fast forward to this present year, I was out on a spiritual retreat in Costa Rica, and anything and everything I ever learned over the last 20 years, I brought to the situation and got myself out of a uh, precarious situation. I was down there with a bunch of people that I didn't know. They were spiritual people. I live in Sarasota, Florida. A lot of people were from Florida and around the country. And we all went down to Costa Rica. And day two of it, I went like for those of you who know me and follow me, I have horses and I love horses and I do a lot of clearing alongside emotional freedom technique stuff alongside horses here. And while I was in Costa Rica, I went on, my favorite thing to do is go riding horses. And I was riding on the beach and the horse moved. And I've been riding horses for a long time. And the horse flung around. I went flying. I went 6 feet up in the air, landed on my butt,
Oh,
and it was not, it was surreal was the word because I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't move my legs. I was in a foreign country, not speaking the language, and it was like, oh heck, what am I going to do?
yeah.
And like, I didn't know these people who were there, and I was a stranger in a foreign country. And in that moment, after I got to 2 hours over the bumpy road to the hospital, and they told me that I had fractured my hip and I was going to need surgery. And I had I'm doing this because I have to get them straight. I fractured my femur and had to get a titanium rod in that, and then I had fractured my right hip and compressed my discs, so I
Wow.
couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. I didn't know how I was going to get home to the States, and so immediately after surgery, literally. I had 2 days later. I had prepared a an online course master class, and it was one of the few times I was collaborating with somebody in this particular field, and he's like, "You sure you want to go on?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So I was there in my hospital robe, and I was like rocking out. But ironically, the Barbara, the one thing that really stuck out in my mind was as much pain as I was in 2 days post-op. I didn't think about the pain once. All I kept focusing on was the people that had signed up who were going to be there on that call and serving them. And then my next step was, how the heck am I going to get myself home? And I remember taking a course many years ago in leadership. And they said, we're going to put you anywhere in the world and you can create teams and you can communicate anywhere and get yourself home. And I immediately got out of my way, remembered all those things came flooding back. And I created a team. And I said, all Karen is going to focus on is healing. And you all are going to support me in getting home. And I'm going to be my own advocate to get myself home. And that's exactly what I did. It was profound.
I'm in awe right now. I'm in awe. I mean, okay, I just got to go back a little bit. First of all, wow, you are a warrior. I mean, you got to get me crying here. You're gonna get me crying.
Yeah.
But I mean, just for you to deal with that accident and don't even know in a different country, like you said, big fall, scary. I mean, that's frightening. And then can't move, you know. And then from that point to say through all of that, you're like, no, I still have to do this for the lady. I still got to, keep moving. And that's what I call a warrior. I mean, kudos for you.
It's showing up. It's
And see,
showing up.
it's just showing, like you said, just showing up. And this goes into a little bit of what I'm talking about here with this whole platform about, understanding visibility, to understand that you have to take the lead sometimes and step up no matter what the consequences are. I mean, still take care of yourself, of course.
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost.
Yeah. Self care. I want to make sure I put that out to everybody. I don't want people all of a sudden they're just,
Like I said, Karen's taking care of me. I'm taking care of my healing, and the rest just falls into place. And it's been falling into place. I'm 4 months into it now, and it's just like, I'm starting to walk. I finally gave up the cane, so I've gotten to that point. But it's still a journey. I'm still can't sit very long, and I can't stand very long, and my back. But it's all of that, and in the midst of all of that, I still show up. And I
yeah,
still, because I'm so committed to my why and reaching so many people at what's possible. And as I said, for me, it's part of the healing journey is communication is if you can't talk to, I mean, we talk to people all the time communicating. Well, are you? If you can't talk to yourself and you're not taking care of yourself, which is a form of communication, how can you possibly take care of others? It's
yeah,
like loving. You can't, if you're not loving yourself, you're only half-ass love, excuse me, loving everybody else, in your environment.
Yeah.
So
It starts with you. Like you said, Queen, it
oh,
starts
oh,
with
yes,
you. And
yes,
if you can't do that for yourself and be that leader in your own life like you've been, then how are you going to do, help others? And I always
mhm,
tell people that. That's so true. That's
yeah,
so true.
absolutely,
And I love what
absolutely.
you said about your why. See, you hit home to some that you pulling at my heartstrings there, because I always tell people about their purpose and their why and what they do in their lives. If it's not strong and ingrained in you, you don't believe that, then anything that might come your way is going to shoot you down. Because your
Exactly.
why, that means that why, what you thought was your why, maybe is not really strong enough. Because I don't care what anybody says, I'm always going to. My biggest mission is to help women move forward and make sure that they know they have a gift, and I want to help them in any kind of way. So if anything it goes in my life, or like you said in your life, how you went with the whole accident,
Yeah,
you're still going to show up. So you have
exactly.
to make sure that your why is strong in your life. Yeah.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, for me, things, especially from a spiritual context, things come to me for a reason or season. It comes in signs and symbols. And as I was laying in my hospital bed there in Costa Rica, like I said, like, how do you pass the time? I'm looking out the window, and in my mind, I was seeing a mountain, but of course, in Costa Rica, it's their volcanoes. But in my mind, I'm looking at it saying, okay, God says that, we can move mountains. And I'm looking at this going, how the heck am I going to move? And it was just like, it
I
was
love
interesting because I documented the whole thing. I ended up putting it all on Facebook, on my Facebook page. And so I had a lot of people saying to me, oh my God, Karen, you're in a foreign country and you don't speak the language. And how are you communicating? How are you? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I like it. And all I kept thinking was, life is good. I might not speak the language, but como se dice? So I started learning the language. I got one of those little apps and I was learning language and we were playing. So we were being playful with it, but it really had me step into faith even deeper than I already was. And somebody, one of the publisher of my other book, had followed me and my whole journey and asked me to do this next book that's coming up in June, which is Ignite Your Faith. I was like, oh, I got that one covered.
it. The
So
opportunities are endless when you open yourself up and, like you said, you step up, and that's what happened. And I'm glad. See, there's so many lessons learned in what you're talking about right now, Cody. I love when
absolutely.
you said that when people were coming to you, oh my God, you're from a country, you don't know the language, and you're hurt, and da da da. See how automatically people go
Response.
straight to that. And I know you're sitting back like, okay, first of all, I don't need to hear all that right now. I mean, back in your mind, like, okay, let's kind of, and then, but you pushed your way through that and said, but no, I'm taking this step by step. It's a process, and something is going to
Yes.
come. All of this, yes.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I teach is the difference between reacting and responding. And I've trained myself over the years, right? It takes practice like anything else. So I was, and thank goodness I was, because by responding to it, I got home safe and sound. I got through this whole process with ease. Whereas if I was reacting, oh my God, that would have been my old way of being, the pity party, the victim, oh my God, the sky is falling, life is over. How am I going to do it? It cost me $35,000 to get home with hospital bills. And I'm like, no, I'm like, it's all going to come back. It's all going to come back. They provided an amazing service down there that I couldn't be upset. I couldn't be upset with the horse. And then in the midst of it all, my horse dies while I'm down in Costa Rica. And I get a phone call saying, he was he was my old rescue. He was about 38 years old, and they said he fell. He can't get himself up. His legs aren't working. As I'm listening to on the phone, and I'm looking down at my feet, going, my feet aren't working. My legs aren't
So
working.
you
Are you going to put me down too? And it was like, cancel that thought, get out of your head. But we can go so quickly into the
yeah.
stories and make it mean whatever we're going to make it mean. And that becomes a part of our future selves, right? So what you focus on expands. And knowing that, I was like, I'm not going down that road, that road. So I was able to not only keep myself out of that space, remind myself who I was, and keep the focus of unstoppability and intentionality and focus alive, keep the leader ahead of the game. And I was able to get myself home, and it was just like such a beautiful transition home. And it was amazing because once I got home to the States, boy, did things change. So,
Oh,
but that's another story.
that's a whole other story. But
That's a
I
whole
mean,
nother but
there's
it
always
is
stories in our lives. I know.
there is always stories, Barbara. But the whole incident in Costa Rica had me look back and reframe, and every my journey through my whole career now. I started off as a nurse back in the day, so I had learned how to be the chameleon and be adaptable through that. And we learned so much through all of our experiences, who we're becoming as a result of that. And as a result of this one, it's really had me step up and start looking at communication in a whole nother way. So now I'm presenting conversations around empowerment with empowering conversations in teams. And it really goes through a journey of, just rediscovering self from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the work. It keeps me lit and it keeps me engaged. I was asked to talk in front of 600,000 people in India this year in August. And normally I would have been the old Karen, would have been like, oh my God. Instead, it was like in a spiritual context, though, it's like in the space of unity, right? We're all connected, we're all one. I'd be speaking to one person when I told them about my hips, and they were like, maybe next year. So, but it gives me focus to look for getting the message out there later
Yeah.
on. So,
Yeah. And I'm so glad that, that's why we go through certain things in our life because you had to go through the stepping stones to get to where you are now. And now, like you say, you're not like, oh my God, 600,000. It's like now you're like, no, I want to say the message. I want them, I need to bring that to them. It's like also, it's like, it's not something that, it's something that you must do now. It's just kind of in your mind, like, I have to do this no matter how I feel
yeah,
or whatever's going on with me. If I feel
yeah,
a little bit fearful or whatever, I got to put that to the side because
exactly.
they need what I'm talking about, and it's a need out there, and they need to hear your voice from you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
we all have a message. We all have something to contribute. Even when you don't think you have anything, you have something. You have a voice. And when you use it, it just takes you to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And before you know it, it's like it brings such joy. I mean, when I look back, I don't recognize myself now. I mean, I look back at pictures and it's like, who is that person? How did I gave away my power all the time. Now, honey, the queen is keeping her power on.
you'd be
I,
so excited when you jump through this. Oh my God, Carrie, you're gonna give me so excited to jump through the screen. I'm gonna hug you. Yes, you are not giving your crown is like sitting tight. Nobody can't take it away.
yeah,
Nobody. And it's a good feeling. And like you said, you look back and you be like, who's that person? I don't
exactly.
remember that person. But then on the other hand, you remember it because you can help other people say, I was there. I
Yes,
was there, just like you was.
exactly.
I was not feeling confident. I was fearful. I didn't want to even step
Whoa.
out. All of that. And then when a
Okay.
person look at you or look at me, and say, "Really, you were there?" Yes, we was.
Yeah, and fear is debilitating. It really is debilitating
Yeah.
and not
Wow.
fun.
Yes. So I want. Can you give before? Because I want to make sure that you give some love to the audience and say last thoughts that you have. But before that,
Absolutely.
I know this time went too quick, but see, that's why you're failing. That's why I always want you to come back when you can. But if
Anytime.
you could give like just one tip, because I want to really make sure the audience learns some things about visibility, how important it is, either in their business or in their life period, whatever they're doing. So, what
Yeah.
is one tip that you can give to the audience?
My one thing is show up. Keep showing up for you. Trust in yourself, even when you're faltering. Do it anyway. Know your why, know yourself, know who you are, and keep showing up. Keep showing up because failure isn't failure, it's a lesson. Learn from it and keep showing up.
See, you dropped the mic on that. I don't even want to. I can't say that. I don't even want to mess that up. That was good. So I'm going to give you just a little bit more time because there's anything else that you want to add to that, and then I'll come back up and we'll make sure that they can contact you and reach out to you if they want to work with
Yeah.
you. I'll be right back.
All righty. Well, thank you. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. One of the things that I do provide is an ongoing presentation called Find Your Voice, Empower Your Team, Effective Communication for Conscious Leaders. And it's fun to really see who we have been, who we are now, and where we're going, and using effective communication, not just for yourselves, for your family, for it begins and then goes outward into your businesses and such. So, to thine own self be true. You can contact me at www.tranquilsolutions.com or as below, Facebook. Facebook, I'm always on all of the social medias. Yeah. So, and I reach out by myself to everybody who reaches out to me because I want to know who you are.
Oh, well, Miss Karen Queen, thank you so much for coming back. And we
Thank
got
you.
to have you back. I mean, just give me some lessons learned, more of that positive that you're putting out for the women and what you do, your courses. You're doing so much. So many women need that. And I want you to just know that you are changing lives. I just want you to know that. And to always know that whatever you're doing, it is helping somebody else in this world.
Thank you.
Really is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So again, see these. I just love bringing these wonderful experts, and like I said, I call them family because I really just want you to know them. And she said she's everywhere, but guess what? If you can't find Karen, which I don't know why you can't, but just say you can't, you can contact me, and I'll make sure you get to Karen.
All right.
Say that there's no excuses not to be able to reach out to this wonderful queen. So
Thank
with that said, thank you again, Karen, so much for being on the show. And again, as I tell people all the time, please, please understand that you have a gift in you. Let it shine for others. Have that visibility in your life so people know what you do, not just for your own self in your own life, but for others, because you are all a lighthouse to the world. Thank you so much. Take
you.
care.